everyone. My name is Janelle Peotter, and I'm the volunteer coordinator for New Paltz Climate Smart. I'd like to greet you and say Happy Earth Day. I'm taking a class right now through Judith Inc., a college class, and I've learned a lot more about plastics recently. And I would like to be able to share with you some very practical ideas today of ways that you can avoid single-use plastic in your life. Maybe some you're aware of, so maybe some you're not. But just to set a context, I want to tell you a little bit more about why just recycling plastic is not the answer. For a long time, most of us have been very diligent recyclers and feel okay about buying things packaged in plastic because we can recycle. Unfortunately, I've learned through this class that we've been intentionally deceived by the manufacturers of plastic to believe that if we recycle, we are being green and we can feel good about all that we do for the environment. The truth is that at best, plastic can be downcycled maybe once to a lower grade product, but ultimately it will either be incinerated, landfilled, or shipped to a developing country where they have even less capability of dealing with it. Plastic manufacturers use fracked gas, can make virgin plastic cheaper than anything that is made from recycled material. So the markets just aren't there. These manufacturing plants are commonly called cracker plants because they are cracking ethane, which is a byproduct of fracking. As the oil companies see their market share shrink as we move more and more to renewables, their plan B is to make money by making plastic. Once plastic is created, however, it is with us forever. All plastic that has been made is still with us today. It never biodegrades, but only breaks down to smaller and smaller pieces of plastic until they become microplastics. Research is now showing us that even in remote locations, plastic particles are raining down on us every day. Plastic rain is therefore the new acid rain. Plastic is in the air we breathe, the water we drink, the fish we eat, and even in the plants we grow. It is time to say no to all single-use plastic. I'm not just talking about straws and plastic cutlery, but we all need to take a close look at our groceries, what's in our grocery cart, and even the clothes we buy. Most clothing is now made of polyester and sheds microfibers when it's worn, washed and finally discarded. Even if your curbside waste hauler collects all forms of plastic, it unfortunately does not mean they are actually being recycled. Become informed. Watch the movie, The Story of Plastic. The easiest and most direct way you can get started is by reducing your own use of single-use plastic. And I'm here today to share with you some of these ways of doing that. Single-use plastics include plastic bags, water bottles, straws, cups, utensils, dry cleaning bags, takeout containers, plastic packaging, and any other plastic items that are used once and then discarded. Buy in bulk. Buy naked fruits and vegetables. Buy other things in paper, cardboard, or cans whenever possible. For example, I recently found that my favorite bread flour is only in plastic. But another one, an alternative, which is just as high quality, is actually in paper. So I buy that brand of flour now. Instead of washing yet another plastic container for recycling, or I would like to call it wish cycling, your time is actually better spent contacting product manufacturers, finding alternatives, passing local single-use plastic bans, and by writing your legislators to demand extended producer responsibility and other meaningful actions through the passage of the Break Free from Plastic Pollution Act. This act is at a federal level and needs your support. So now to the fun part. Let me share with you some of the many ways that I have found are easy to reduce plastic in my life. And the first one may be obvious, but we all sometimes need a reminder, is always carry with you a water bottle. I have here my favorite water bottle. It happens to have a lid that you can drink through, but of course there's many kinds, and it's best to have one in each car and your briefcase, etc. Always, I like coffee. So rather than being tempted to drink coffee when I'm out and about in a cup, with a plastic lid. I like to bring my own cup. This one actually has a carabiner on it, so I can clip it on to a backpack or a briefcase. And I also keep a thermos with me because sometimes I might want to get a large quantity of coffee, and usually a coffee place doesn't mind putting it in your thermos for you. When I'm at home, I never liked K-cups. I think they are a terrible invention. And I prefer to use something that is compostable. And, you know, many people like the cone drip coffee. And I found this device, which, believe it or not, looks like a toy, but in fact, it is a cone coffee maker that expands just like that. And you can put conventional coffee filters in them, and I compost the remains. So I've been able to get my coffee to zero plastic as well, which is really nice. And this brand, by the way, if you're looking for it, is Kickerland is the brand, and it's called the Collapsible Coffee Dripper. Very handy for travel. Another idea are waxed cloths for food. This is as an alternative to saran wrap. There's a commercial brand, and that is called Beeswrap, which is great, but they're not inexpensive. So I learned that you can actually make that pretty easy yourself. And I have a recipe here that I can share with anyone who would like to contact me. And it's for a reusable beeswax wrap recipe. And I'm going to just share with you quick what the ingredients are. I have one here that I made. I keep it in this little tin, which of course is just an old Altoids tin, but it works well for storing these. Here's my folded up wrap. Fits perfectly in there. And if I unfold it, you can see that this just happens to be a piece of gingham. So just any cotton cloth that has a nice tight weave can be used. You can't feel this, but it's a very, if I crumple it, like for example, if I would take this avocado and wrap it around, it's sticky and it's very tight. You know, it's not going to come out of there. So the ingredients to make these is actually beeswax, and you can, you might have a source of it, but you can also get it as these little chips, which makes it easier. And also jojoba oil, and that looks like this. And you just use a few drops of that. And also pine resin, believe it or not. Sorry, that was a loud noise. This is pine resin. It's kind of a powder, and you only need a couple of tablespoons. So this is probably going to be a lifetime supply for me. So you mix the pine resin and the beeswax and the jojoba oil and heat it up. I kind of have a little pan that I just dedicated to using this because it's kind of messy. Or you could also just, another alternative would be to melt it in a glass jar, and you can just dedicate that glass jar to this purpose and kind of make a double boiler. So you heat it up, and then you spread it on with a natural paintbrush, and it's best to be hot, and you put it on parchment paper on a baking tray so that you can get it nice and smoothed out. And if it starts to harden on me, I even put it in the oven just for a few minutes at a low temperature, like 300, and just to make sure that it's thoroughly melted in. And then what I do, this isn't a step that everybody recommends, but I found it works for me. There'll be areas of the cloth that are a little thick in the wax. So then I take my next cloths that I'm going to wax, and I put them on either side and of the waxed one and iron it a little bit. And the fresh fabric absorbs the excess wax from my wrap. And I'm that much closer in the next step to making another wrap with those two pieces that are sandwiched in there. So that's how you make a waxed wrap. And people ask, well, how do you wash them? You can wash them in cold soapy water. You cannot wash them in hot, or they would melt off. They last a long time, and they can be composted ultimately when you're done. I've had this one now for, I think, 2 years, and it's still operational. So, and as you can see, I just folded it back in here and popped it in. So that was a long explanation, but if you'd like the recipe, just email newpaltzclimatesmart@gmail.com and I'll send you the recipe. So next, oh, and another one, sorry, new one is for some things that you put in the refrigerator as leftovers. They might be really wet or hot and a wax trap wouldn't work. I really don't want to use saran wrap. So I have these, which are not ideal because they're made of silicone, so they're not ultimately recyclable, but I can use them thousands of times. They wash really well. If anybody eats meat and has something that meat, you don't want to put that in a wax wrap because you really need to clean it with hot water and soap. But anyway, point is, on one of my bowls, this silicone wrap will just tightly go right over the top of the bowl and nothing's going to spill. You know, I could have liquid in there and it would be tight. So that's an alternative also to saran wrap and reusable forever. So I don't have a problem using that. Next, let's go to personal care. Toothbrushes, toothpaste. I didn't bring in my example of a bamboo toothbrush, but those are available, which is nice. I've stopped using toothpaste. I haven't used toothpaste in 2 years. So what do I use instead? Baking soda. Maybe some of you have tried baking soda and don't like it, but what I found is I put a little bit of baking soda in a glass jar, and then here's the secret sauce. I get some peppermint bakery emulsion. It can be peppermint or any flavor you like as long as it's food grade. And I just put my baking soda in there, sprinkle a few drops of the peppermint oil, and then give it a good shake. And now my baking soda toothpaste tastes peppermint, and I think it's really good. And the dentist said that it's an excellent way to brush your teeth. So no more single-use tubes of toothpaste. And this is dead cheap, practically free. Baking soda is very inexpensive. So highly recommend that. Another thing for personal care is that my husband has very dry hands in the winter. So I thought I'd experiment and I made a homemade cream, which worked really, really well. In fact, I need to make another batch soon. And what you do is you take a couple of oils and melt them, and that would be coconut oil. And sometimes I've added shea butter too. And a little bit again of the jojoba oil, same thing as we use for the wrap. And then a little, if you like it, you don't have to, but a little bit of scent. I put in rose geranium oil, and you're going to blend that until it's all melted and mixed together. Then here's the tricky part: is you want to watch it and you want to bring it, cool it down, not to the point that it's hard, but to the point that it's just becoming to start to solidify. It's still soft. And then you're going to want to add some aloe vera gel. And I whip it with one of those coffee frothers, this thing. And it makes an emulsion. And it is the best hand cream ever. And I just put it in a glass jar. And it lasts, it keeps for quite a long time. And I'm using no chemicals, no plastic, and it's inexpensive. Some people, I think I will make another batch today. I'm inspired. Let's see. Shampooing. Some people use shampoo bars, and this is an example of one right here. I bought this at a farmer's market. I have very long hair, and I admit that a shampoo bar doesn't work great for me, but for people with much shorter hair, people really do like shampoo bars, and that avoids the plastic of those shampoo bottles. So another personal care item. Another thing that I do to save plastic is I really limit my cleaning products and pretty much make my own. So what I use for kind of countertops, even the mirrors, is a water and vinegar solution, and definitely use this for the showers too. I've added a few drops of tea tree oil. I like the smell, but it's also a bit of antibacterial too. And dead cheap. So this I can refill forever and never have to have a throwaway bottle of countertop cleaner. Let's see, how about doing your laundry? I've learned a lot about clothing in this class. And unfortunately, if you look at the labels, most of your clothes have artificial fibers, polyester, nylon, even the fleece, all the fleeces. Initially we thought it was a good idea because they're made of plastic, so it's recycled. The problem is when you wash it, the microfibers go out the wash water and are not pulled out by the waste treatment plants. So anything you can do to reduce microfibers from going out from your laundry, the better. One way to do that is to wash in cold water and not to overwash. You don't need to wash, for example, a fleece jacket just because you wore it once. You can wear it many times. You can also get special balls. I'm trying to remember what they're called, but they're like a lint catchers, if you will, for a washer. There's also a more expensive filter that you can get for your washer that filters all the water that's either going into your septic tank or the sewage treatment plant. And that's a filter that's added onto your washer. Apparently in Europe, they already are incorporated into the washing machine. And while we're speaking of washing clothes, another thing that I've just switched to is these. And these are called laundry detergent strips, Ecostrips. This product is made by True Earth. There's probably other brands out there. And this is just a thin packet they mailed to me. And this replaces one entire plastic jug of laundry detergent. So that I really completely eliminate the plastic. This is just a paper mailer. And I'm really looking forward to adding this to the ways that I stop using plastics. Another idea, as we're getting into the gardening season, and maybe many of you are gardeners, I don't know about you, but my garage is filled with lots of plastic seed starting equipment that I've either bought plants in or started myself, and I'm trying to get out of that. And so I found this thing, and it's called Seed Blocker. And I watched a class on how to use them. And what you do is you make a potting mix, and you plunge this into the potting mix, push down the bar, and you have little soil blocks that do not need a container whatsoever. And apparently the seedlings actually fare better than they do in the little plastic containers. So for gardeners, that's another option. So I hope I've given you ideas today, just on different ways that you can eliminate some of the use of plastic in your life. It's pretty tough these days to eliminate all of it. But if you do things like always bringing a water bottle with you and bringing a bag to the grocery store and just really being aware of what you put in your cart, you can really start to make a big difference. Please do feel free to email me at newpaltzclimatesmart@gmail.com, and I will be sure to send you anything that you need for more information. Okay, thank you very much, and have a very happy Earth Day.
Thank you.